let's go ahead and get into it then. So, like first one on the agenda. So, define what makes an anime unique in its perspective of reality.
And we talked a little bit about this in the pre-show. It really has a lot of Japan's history, especially since I would say World War I until now. Japan always had a tumultuous history of just trying to integrate those islands as a single country, even though it's actually dozens of various Asian ethnicities that are in those islands. And the further north that you get to like Hokkaido, the northernmost island in the chain, they've got a lot of Russian people there. You got a lot of indigenous folks there the Ainu people, for example, they wouldn't consider themselves Japanese.
They would not. You're absolutely correct.
So this chain of volcanic mountainous islands that's sitting smack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, it's getting influences from its grandmother China, from its older cousin brother Korea. It's getting all these influences that sort of make it what it is, and then once you had the feudal lords finally, especially before we get to World War I, when the country's beginning to open up to the rest of the world, unified under one king after centuries and centuries and millennia of warring states periods and all that, finally being able to unify the country as a whole, at least politically, at least legally, to the rest of the world, being able to unify it as one thing.
Facts.
So you take all this history of warrior race, this history of tumult and stuff like that, and your life being able to end for a petty reason, for a completely petty reason. You got to cut and walk too close to the outhouse. Gone.
Yeah.
A bandit came in and wiped you out. Gone. You take that history, the shaman honor smelted in there. Then you take the most amazing landscape that can only be created by a chain of volcanoes, these super high mountains, these incredible cloudy situations, these natural hot springs, tigers, bears, wolves, like all these kinds of things, like this natural wildlife. I don't think there's any tigers there anymore, but there used to be tigers back in the day. Still bears, and depending upon where you go, and still wolves depending upon where you go. In that country, you take all this incredible otherworldly landscape, and then you give this to a people who have access to the technology that the rest of the world has to put their stuff on a screen for people to be able to see it. That's what anime is going to look like, something from an alien planet. Of course it is.
It is. You're right.
Disney just put up a documentary on in their National Geographic page, because they own National Geographic. But they did one where the whole document, it's like a mini docuseries with, I think it's like 4 or 5 episodes, where they're flying through all the major areas of Japan, the major regions, and they just do a flyby of every region, and they tell you about something. And I'm looking at some of this stuff, and I'm seeing some of the areas where like there's mountains so far above sea level, and then when you on that mountain looking down, you don't see the land at all. You just see a sea of clouds. Then I'm immediately thinking about Nausicaa. I'm immediately thinking, and then when they're going to the Kansai region and going over beaches and stuff, I'm immediately thinking about Samurai Champloo.
Yes, sir.
When they go to the area that's super, super mountainous, and there's not a lot of like closer to Hokkaido, and there's not a lot of vegetation that can grow. It's just wild plains and grass. I think about Shinyo Moribito. It's like that's the reason why those landscapes look like that, because the people who that's their landscapes.
Yeah.
All these otherworldly things, they don't look like this in America. It don't look like this in the UK and stuff like that, where a lot of the Western imagination of what the planet should look like from television and from books and pictures is mostly European, British, and American. That's where a lot of the media has come from. So they're living in a different landscape. They live next to active volcanoes that a lot of Westerners don't. And that creates an environment that's different. So that's what makes their unique island with its unique history is what makes anime give the perspective of reality that it does. And then they also don't. We talked about this earlier with Miyazaki and Kurosawa. They don't run from the pain of their history. They find ways to process that grief instead of trying to make it legendary. That's why you still get samurai games, even though at the end of the samurai game, everybody dies.
Yeah, facts.
You still know everyone's gonna die at the end. Because that's how it happened in real life. There are no winners there are no winners in that story ever. And so they embrace their history, good and bad, the things they did
Yep.
wrong and the things that they right, and they process that pain, and they're still processing the pain.
Yep.
And so that's what makes their stuff. It's their culture, it's their perspective on pain, and it's that freaking island, man. It's like a different planet. You could do a space movie on Japan, and no one would know the wiser. You would think it's an alien world. The landscapes they got out there.
That's fair, man. I mean, like, think about the you know, like on one part of Japan. You know, it's like lush. It looks like a lush summer island, and then like that's like Okinawa. You know, you go down and then you find yourself a little bit further north, and it's like snowing like 3 to 4 feet in the air. It's like that. Like, to me, whenever I look at them, they have as weird as this might sound, they actually have probably one of the closest terrains as far as like when it comes to change. You know, I think as far as like Hawaii may be the next closest, but even their island chain doesn't change that much.
Yeah.
The Japan has been built on change.
It has.
You know what I'm saying? So like for them, like their perspective has always dealt with the fact that there may be variances. They're like, yeah, this could be true, but you know, they're like, it's like oh, this house may be wonderful right here, but this volcano might actually be exploding in the next couple of days.
Where else in the planet can you go? Because like go to the Tottori prefecture in Japan, right? Where else can you go where there's an actual desert, we're talking sand dunes and everything, an actual desert next to the ocean with a snow-capped mountain right there in the background, to where like during the wintertime, the desert there that's touching in the ocean actually gets several inches of snow in the wintertime.
Exactly.
So you could literally be sitting in the sand and the snow at the same time. Watching the ocean blow, looking at a mountain in the background. That is another planet.
It is. I mean, like we have no frame of reference for that. People are Greenland, like, nah.
No, it's not the same. I said desert, snow, ocean, mountain. What you got?
All in the same, like literally within the same backdrop. Yeah, like you
could actually get it all in the frame. Like
all
depending
in
on
one frame, like literally,
all in one picture. You could.
We'll give you a challenge. Type in Tottori, which is Tottori. Yeah. Type that in and look it up, and you will see exactly what we're talking about. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely beautiful. It looks like a scene. It looks like a scene out of One Piece. You know, like the constant islands of change and stuff like that, and the way the world changes. You know, I was like, that's very interesting. You know, like that. You know that some of that stuff don't seem as far fetched. Like as far as how to you just take each one of the small areas on in Japan and just break them into parts. You know, like it's like that actually kind of is the way the weather is. It's weird, but I think that's a very fair statement to make. You know, that you think about their culture, you think about their land, their terrain, their history. You think about the way they confront their history. You know, anime has been enriched by that. That's kind of one of the reasons why the name of this episode is Animated, but the subtopic is pretty much things gleaned from anime philosophy, because a lot of anime that we watched when we were growing up, we didn't know, but now you can like wax eloquent. You know, there are some themes in these anime that if you dig deep enough, beyond the surface of friendship, because like most people always think about the power of friendship. I'm like, to me, that's the mainstream ones that are appealing to Americans. No offense. Because even One Piece even though it deals with that particular theme, you know, a lot of their themes are not particularly just about that. Naruto to me was pretty much almost all that, and that's kind of why I don't really like it. It's because it was,
but it's not as lit as everybody think it was.
Yeah, it's really not. You know, because you sit back and you look at it, people are character development. I'm like, dude, okay, so character development is this. I'm just going to explain it in Naruto for you because apparently this is what builds an excellent character. This boy was born with all the power.
And his parents had all the power. They gave him all the power. And he just had to open up the seal to get the power. Now, then you take... That is literally the whole story.
That's the whole story. Now, then you take somebody like Sasuke, who wasn't really born with the power. It was in his bloodline to have the power, but you had to work. And he worked. And he found a way, he scratched and he clawed, and he finally got his power, but they defamed him in the end by making him fight Naruto. Why would that be the last recourse? Was it because they didn't have a better villain? And Sasuke at this time, nobody was thinking of him as a villain.
Oh.
You know, so I mean, it was a trash ending. I was like that was a bad ending for that series because the villain of the story was already dead, or they had won him over due to the power of friendship, like a Orochimaru.
And then they were like, oh, what do we do now?
Yeah, for real. It's like how in the world are you gonna take a Orochimaru?
More last second villains. And,
yeah, for real.
And a completely unnecessary backstory nobody asked for.
Nobody asked for it, yo. I mean, like no, so it was Ashura was straight up unnecessary. I'm like, you had pain.
What?
You had pain. You know, pain was a better as far as like thought process wise.
It was the best. He was great. And so then when they set him aside, when they set Nagato down and brought in Madara, I was like, okay, I can accept the Madara thing.
I couldn't because Madara was dead. homie, just think about this, man. Think about this, like just from a regular, like a storytelling, even if it's supernatural, yeah, whatever. Like, but just think about how trash you got to be to write this into your story.
I'm not saying it's. I hear you.
No, hear me out real quick. Just hear me out. So you have built this whole war, okay, on Obito. You built this whole war on Obito. All the chips are in. We saw Toby as this real weird, you know, quirky little dude, and then we thought he was a big boss. We're like, oh shoot, this actually might work. You know what I'm saying? It's like I thought it was pretty dope. You know, I was like, okay, so Toby's gotta be Obito. I mean, we were all saying that it's gotta be Obito, man. And then we got Pain, and I was like, oh, this dude got like 15 bodies or something like that. This is a dangerous dude. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
very dangerous. Dude. Very dangerous.
And right now, I'm like, all right. And then this sucker got a renege, and this dude is a monster, right? And then he wins him up with power of friendship. Right. So he's won over Orochimaru with the power of friendship.
So it was Jiraiya, wasn't it? Is that who hurt you? Is it Jiraiya being killed? Is that why?
No. I think the thing that got me. The part that threw me out of like liking the series was during the Great War, and it was like midway through, and we all thought it was going to be Obito, and then you see a coffin. You see a coffin, and here's Madara. I'm like, this sucker's dead. And then they're like, I think reanimation jutsu is one of the trashiest jutsus. That to me, that's called I call it retcon jutsu. You know, so they're like retcon jutsu. They're like retcon jutsu. Let's get this thing going. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't got no more villains, so we got to revive old people. So we
the only reason why. So I'm not saying that Uchiha Madara was an ideal direction to go in. I'm not saying it's an idea, but the reason I was able to accept it was because the reanimation jutsu, we had a precedent for it already. We had a precedent for it. It built into the first season. We had a precedent for it.
That was still to me a retcon jutsu. I think that was a punk move by Orochimaru. I was like, yeah, it's a punk move, dude. They ain't even like. I mean, yeah, it's dope that you can do that, I guess, but that's a punk move, bro. You don't sit here and revive some other people because you can't fight your own battle. Then still got waxed. He killed dude and still lost his arms. I was like, homie, he says, oh, you love your stuff, right? I'm gonna take your arms. The dude still got waxed, so that means a third still had more juice in the tank. You know what I'm saying? Had more juice in the bottle than Orochimaru when he had reanimated 3 Hokages. Trash, yo. I mean, I was saying, like, to me, it's a retcon jutsu. It's like, to me, it's the we're trying to think what it would be in another anime. When like something like this, we just had this coincidence happen and now they're back. I'm like, no, I can't think of any off the top of the dome. But it's just like the Naruto is always my first pick when it comes to that anime because it's the most famous for it. They did not let you deal with the consequences of a few people dying. You know what I'm saying? You know, third dying. What's your boy name? Jiraiya dying, but it's one of the teachers. He was Shikamaru's teacher. What's like Robin? What's her name?
Oh, Shikamaru's teacher. Shikamaru's dad too died too.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, but you know who I'm talking about though. So
yeah, he was the third son, Sarutobi. Was it Sarutobi Asuma?
It may have been Asuma. I think it was Asuma. Yeah, but home. I mean, his death was probably to me the saddest one because he was like. He was just trying to be the best instructor he could be. He wasn't trying to be Hokage. He wasn't trying to be, and Shikamaru was inspired by that because, you know, for him, he was like, I don't want to be a big guy in the front and stuff. He's like, to me, Shikamaru is one of the best developed characters in Naruto. And it made Shikamaru grow up. When Homeboy put his brain to it and he trapped your boy and buried his body, I was like, nah, that is what I'm talking about. You know, I was like, nah, that's real talk right there. He said, sucker, you ain't gonna be able to come out this thing ever. I done applied to this thing. He said, it's going to take you a couple 100 years. And by that time, they'll ate your body. I was my man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so stuff like that, like that was, to me, was the saddest death. Jiraiya dying, I saw it coming. And honestly, I was like, if Jiraiya dies, Pain got to be the villain. I said that before it happened. I said, if Pain ain't the villain after knocking off Jiraiya, how in the world? we was talking about in an anime place now. How in the world do you befriend the man that killed your granddaddy figure? I'm talking about anime land. I'm not talking about in like real life. I'm talking about anime land. How in the world are you gonna sit up here and this is spoiler alerts for people who watch Boku no Hero and don't read the manga. If you don't want to hear this, then skip ahead by 2 minutes. 1, 2, and 3, and here it is. All Might is gonna die by the hands of Tomura. How in the world does it look for Deku to be like, you my homie, after he done killed All Might? It makes no sense at all. And then that's my beef with it. My beef is that like that makes no logical sense. It's like if Blackbeard kills Shanks, you think that Luffy's gonna be like, oh, we can have a drink later? Yeah. Stupid. Now I was saying like that joint is a story about forgiveness. Oh yeah, he can forgive these hands.
I haven't read Boku no Hero in a while. All Might's dead. I knew he was on his way.
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, like there ain't much time left. Like it's the sand is running out. So yeah, like it's running out. Yeah, because like that boy Tomura, man, that boy got power. I mean, he got all the power.
Well, he's like after he doesn't have any there's no strings on him anymore.
Yeah,
there's no chains on him anymore. After that incident where he was forced to remember how he got his power.
Yes,
and what he did to his family. Like after that, like
you didn't
spoiler alert for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, like so here's another. So make sure I just go ahead and refresh the spoiler alert. So spoiler alert again. So once again, if you don't want to hear this again, skip ahead another 2 minutes. So have you read the more recent manga with Boku no?
So when I stopped was after he wiped out all those dudes. Like when he finally accepted his power, went crazy and wiped out all those dudes.
Okay. All right, good.
And there were no longer no strings on him anymore. Okay. He had full mastery of his power. I stopped there.
Okay, so it gets worse. It gets worse. He is all for one.
Oh, wait, what? No.
I'm just gonna let that sink in. He's all for one. He's the one that was chosen. He's already been given the power.
Well, I mean, he was already told.
No. He is all for one now.
Oh, so okay.
He's all for one with his own power too. So you just stack all those powers onto his power.
So he has taken in all for one's power into himself. And
he also has his own power at full unlocked.
Oh, so unless to me that means you only have two options. And literally, there's only two options. Either one, Deku needs to become All Might tomorrow, or yesterday, or the squad, his little squad, his little friends or whatever. They need to get the fucking let out.
Yeah,
and go. They all need to go Super Saiyan tonight. Like they all need to level up. All of them. Stop being the legend everybody expects you to be. You need to be the legend now, because guess what? The current number one, he's not up to the job. He never wanted to be number one. He had a little bit of jealousy on the inside, but like what is it? Endeavor, the current number one right now. Look,
yeah.
Oh, Endeavor didn't.
He's number one in name only.
He knows it, and it kills him inside.
It kills him inside. You know he can't. He don't even touch the power of
All Might.
And
look,
what terrifies him further is that he can't even touch the power of All for One. And if he cannot touch the power of All for One, how in the world do you fight a boy that if he looks at you and you're standing on the same ground as him, that you can die?
Because that new Nomu wrecked him,
Bruh.
If homeboy with the wings hadn't stepped in to help him, it would like, look, I'm just, that new Nomu wrecked him. He barely got out of that alive, let alone given the appearance of being victorious. He almost died.
Bruh.
For real.
Bruh. Like, so I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
From a minion.
You know, it's crazy. I mean, because like this actually ties into like actually about two of the questions that we got coming up. You know, like, but you know, I'm floored at how good Boku no Hero is right now. I mean, like that is one of the ones that I'm like the dude told us in 2016, I'm gonna endear you to these people, then I'm snatching them away. And everybody thought he was joking. I said, nah, this dude is dark. Like he's saying that he's gonna let you like these people to actually wipe them out.
That's why I stopped reading, because I saw what he was doing. Like you almost, like when you told me these little spoilers, I almost clicked to my favorite little manga reader, went back and said, you know what? I have a voice that's in my head now when I'm about to click something. So I'm going to regret this. I hear a voice that says, you don't have to do it. Actually, you don't have to watch this.
Yo, I mean,
that's a principle to have in life. You're free.
You're keeping it 100 right now. I mean, I'm loving this though, because I love villains. I love watching villains do their thing, because when you see a good villain, the hope is that the hero will rise to the occasion. So I get excited when I see a good villain, because I'm like, oh man, that means that we're going to get a boss if they do it right. That we're going to get a boss hero. And the way they're setting this up, yo, if Deku, the introduction to Deku, you remember what he said in the first page of the first 2 pages of the manga, first minute of the anime?
I can't remember.
This is how I became the best hero of all time.
Oh, that's right. It was a little self narrative thing. Look, man.
So I mean, like, and I was like, oh, the greatest hero of all time. I'm like, okay, and then you meet All Might. You like, oh, this Tucker was a G. I'm like, you get better than him. So that's always been in the back of my head. You know, dealing with him. It's like dealing with the fact that like there is always a portion of this story that we know is going to happen, but how did he get there? It's a journey, of him actually coming up out of that. So, but yeah, like that's we actually just dealt with perspective, on anime, and that actually kind of ties into it, because once again, their take on heroes ain't the take we got on heroes.
Nope.
Because they don't particularly deconstruct them as hard as we do, because they realize that heroes can have shades of gray in them as well, I guess, as far as like them not knowing exactly what to do at certain times. Over here, it's either put up or shut up, and if you don't put up, then you get kicked out.
And so for that reason, for that reason in this era, we have no interest in heroes that are good. We want messy people. We want because that makes us feel better about ourselves, that we get to see somebody messy on the screen. And I'm not like that. That's uninteresting to me.
Same.
Like when I enter into escapism not to watch the same ratchetness that. And this is no judgment on anybody else who does that. Like I actually tried to watch the first season of Insecure, and tried to watch the first episode or two of look. This is my opinion right here. I like Issa Rae. She's a G.
Phenomenal talent.
She's phenomenal talent. I respect what she's doing for the culture. I respect for what she's doing for women and for women of color, and I think her pen is great. I've watched the Black Lady sketch show. It is hilarious, and I like her contributions to it. I like what she and Robin Thede and what all of them are doing in there. It's great stuff. Now, Insecure is the same. Like it is like I know that it's a fictional thing, but I know people like this.
Yes. Yeah. Same.
I know people who not just have done in past tense, but who do these things. Like like those people keep me up at night. They're on my walls and stuff like that. And so he's like, I share walls with these. So why in the world would I want to like escape the real world?
Yeah.
Practice escapism into reality. That makes no sense to me. I agree.
I agree. I mean, I was saying, I agree. I agree with you 100%. You know, I agree with you 100%. Like that's hard, yo. I mean, I was like, I don't want to watch more ratchetness that I grew up watching ratchetness. I don't. I mean, escapism to me is actually escape.
It's escaping. Like I want to have some hope. I want to have some. Because like, look, like in Issa Rae's character, who she made the mistake of naming after herself, does not she ain't enjoying herself. She's miserable. She's miserable and that stuff. Like, and then
I was watching some folk give reactions. Didn't she just lose her man, her best friend, or something like that?
You
know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm looking at this stuff like that. I'm like, there's some real life women right now that are scarred by that. And I'm like, why would you want to rewatch this and then add this back to your baggage?
Like, you know what I'm saying? What in the world? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's my take too. I think that's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards anime, which is funny that's the second question. So it's like what type of stories had the greatest impact on our childhood? And I think that's the main reason why, because I was raised in ratchetness. You know what I'm saying? Like my like not all the time, but it was parts, it's portions. You just had these pockets of it. I just don't want to be dealing with this. So what happened, you would turn on TV, comic books were in your hand, like I had Spider-Man, X-Men, so forth and so on when I was younger. Lord of the Rings with Tolkien, that was a great escape. You know what I'm saying? And then I had manga. I mean, I had anime, well, I didn't know it was anime at the time, but it was cartoons, but the cartoons were lit. And they made me imagine, like a place that was not where I was, and I guess, that's one of those things that people like, you need to just accept who you are. Oh, I did. I just didn't want to be there. I mean,
how many rap songs do we know the lyrics? Just of the ones we know the lyrics to, where somebody at some point in the album is going to admit, I know I'm not living right, but this is what I've got. Where they say some version of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm just speaking for Black folks, 2 and 4 Black folks. You think for those of us who live in the hood that we like living in the hood? Yeah. That we like the violence and the ratchetness and the family dysfunction and all that stuff. The vast majority of us don't like that stuff.
Yeah,
we don't like food deserts or having to survive on hot Cheetos. We don't like that stuff. But we know it's a feature of what we got though, and so we're trying to. You'll hear people say all the time, "I'm just trying to enjoy my life."
Yep.
So I'm gonna sip on this. I'm gonna puff on that. I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do after my 9 to 5 is done, because I'm just gonna enjoy my life.
Yep.
Seriously, that's a real thing.
That's real. Yeah, like I was saying, like, but like that, I think that was one of the reasons why I gravitated towards anime, and I think you probably could say the same. I think your father and them were influenced like in watching anime and stuff like that when you were young too, right?
Yeah, my dad put us on.
Yeah, so your dynamic is actually doper than mine because your pop was already woke. So you probably forget this American stuff. Let me throw some gems at you while you're a kid.
Look, you know what I'm saying? For a complete, I told my wife this the other day. For a completely random reason, he taught us how to use chopsticks when we were little kids. I think we saw a pack of it in the Kroger or whatever, and he was like, "Says, oh, chopsticks. And what are you using?" He said, "You want to learn?" He didn't know how to use them. He was just like, "You want to learn?" It's like sure. So we went to the Kroger, found a pack of like bamboo ones. Yeah. We just every chance we got cooking rice or whatever, he had us practicing them. So that's the reason how I knew how to use chopsticks long before you ever met me, just because on some random stuff from my old man.
It's crazy because like me learning on how to use chopsticks, that was my first year in college, I believe. Like it was before we were going to Rusan. Shout out to Rusan's. Hopefully they're still good, but Rusan was our spot when we were younger, yo.
I was there last year and it was still good.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I haven't been. I stay closer, and I mean, especially during the pandemic, I'm not even risking it. But but yeah,
it was pre-pandemic.
It was pre-pandemic. But Rusan's was lit, man. Park Road, Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? Just like for all people that's listening, that's in the area. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in the area, I know they're clean. So definitely do that. But I'm not driving an hour and a half to get sushi. That's just not gonna happen. But I'm saying but yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I remember like trying to like teaching myself, as well. But it was like when we got to college, we were getting like some of the sushi rolls and stuff like that. And I didn't even like sushi at the time yet. I just wanted to learn. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. These things are like small parts of us that like just really, really built on how we even develop our own mindsets when we were children. So what story that you can think of, anime story that you can think of that had one of the greatest impacts on your development as a child?
As a development, I hate to attribute it to Dragon Ball because
it's fair. I mean, like
but it did though because
it is the marijuana of anime. It's the gateway.
It is. And we had a bookstore that where the manager there at of the store was a dude who wasn't that many. He was like, so I was like early teens.
Yeah.
And this dude was like in college age or just about to graduate from college, kind of thing like that. And so he was one of the managers there, and he was into anime. And so he put me on, but they never really kept in. They kept a couple tapes in the bookstore, but for the most part, he was like, "Yo, we can order them for you." So I was always up in there ordering anime at a bookstore, or it was just a little local bookstore too. And I was ordering anime on a regular basis. So once I started working and I had my own money, like that's what I did on payday. I would go and I would put in an order and pre-order for whether it was Dragon Ball or some other random type thing like that. So for Dragon Ball Z, those were huge for me. I would also say Tenchi. Tenchi Ryo-Oki was huge. Was huge for me. Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Oki was. It was. I don't have the same kind of tolerance for it now as an adult, but it was huge for me. And then the Final Fantasy anime, the one where it was where the hunt for the crystal.
Yes.
That had an enormous impact on me as well. Just like in terms of the teenage years. But before that, there were a number of them. Like Technoman had a huge Tekkaman Blade. Yeah, that had a huge impact on me as as a youth. Yeah, there was a few of them, but I would say that I was able to do more anime once I was making my own money. Once I was making my own money, like at 15, 16, 17, that's when I started. So Vampire Hunter D, that's another D had a huge impact on me.
So in what way? Like can you tell me like what theme in Vampire Hunter D that really got you? Because that's actually one of mine too. But I want to see what you got out of it. Yeah.
Because they don't like to explain D. They don't like to explain D in anything. They never explain D. They never explain D. I
actually love that about that, by the way. I love that.
But everybody's afraid of him when they realize who he is. But so with D, I did not realize that there was also at the time it was probably the most violent anime I had ever seen. When I first saw when I first saw the original Vampire Hunter D.
You talking about Bloodlust?
Not Bloodlust. That's two.
The first one.
The
first one. Okay, all right, yeah.
The first one, the one that came out like late 70s, early 80s. That one was so violent. Like to this day, right now, I can't remember. It was the guy that had the spiders in his back that was trying to kill D, and he turned when he realized it wasn't going to work, and D had used the wind tunnel in his hand to suck up the spiders, and he tried to turn and run away, and the sword came down the middle, and then all of his innards kind of spilled toward the middle.
Yes.
Kind of thing, while the halves fell, so the halves fell apart to the ground, but the innards all fell toward the middle. D's determination to do the right thing and to rescue the innocent at personal cost to him, because it cost him for that. It cost him to run up in that vampire lord's place, because then he would be known. He was already hated because he was a half-blood, so he willingly went into persecution to go and he willingly endured persecution to save an innocent person.
Yeah, he did.
And the booty was available to him, and he said no to the booty. Yeah. Like he took no payment for it other than the satisfaction of knowing that a little more evil was removed from the world. And then just as his identity is being revealed, he pulls the curtain back on that, almost sort of like how Jesus like telling them demons like, shh. Don't you be telling nobody who I am. That's not almost like that. It was almost like, even though it was violent and gruesome and not good for a small child, it was his behavior was almost Christ-like, in terms of how he endured persecution and suffering for an innocent person and resisted all temptations, did no wrong whatsoever, was brought all the way up to the precipice and still did what was right, and at great personal cost to himself.
Yeah, and I think what the dope part about him, it wasn't really romance. You know, it was romance as far as like, you know, the original definition of romance, you know, being like an adventure in a sense, or going against like a particular area that you don't know that much about, but not as much of a romance as far as like you get the girl in the end. Yeah. The you know what I'm saying? Like it was the original romance, you know, like that you would have to wade through. And I like the fact, you know, with Vampire Hunter D, for me, the lesson I learned was that, you know, some of the things that you have in you that you perceive as bad is not always bad. It's just unlearned.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I learned from Vampire Hunter D, especially by the time we got to Bloodlust, because like in Bloodlust, when he was being tempted to like just let it go, and the scene in my head is burned in my head. You know, he's being crackled with electricity, and his energy and his teeth.
Oh yeah,
starting to grow, and they're like coated with like the tips of them were red with blood. Like he was dying to eat.
Oh yeah,
and he still didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, the will on him is very, very interesting. You know, like I just found it very, very interesting the way they constructed Vampire Hunter D with the demon in his left hand, or like the symbiote in his left hand. We can't really call it a demon. We don't know what it is. They once again,
they didn't explain that either.
It was shrouded in mystery. Like each one of these parts worked so well together because they did not explain or over-explain anything. They gave you a story and then they made you deal with it. And each one of them, each one of the movies and the OVAs and stuff, they all gave you just enough to show you that vampire, that D was the good guy in the story. Even though
the bad guys were horrible, morally reprobate.
Bruh.
And beyond repentance. All of them. They were beyond repentance.
Were well beyond the point of salvation. It was like just murk these suckers today. And you know, like, and I just found it even like at the end of a Bloodlust, you know, like the person that we perceived to be a villain wasn't really a villain.
Meyer Link, the homie.
Yeah.
Homie. He and D actually have a kindred spirit in terms of resisting.
Yeah, like I was blown away by that. I was like, but he's supposed, you know, like no.
Meyer Link, bro. Look, man.
We're looking like, but you sure he ain't the bad guy? You know, you know, we are like, but you know, you sure? They're like, nah, he's actually a good guy. You sure about that? You know what I'm saying? And it was like the family. I was like, yo, you gotta be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I thought that was so dope. Yeah, I thought it was dope, man. Like the way they actually built the story around D. Like it was very well done. And it's one of them joints, man. If you say that in front of a crowd, a bunch of people, they don't know anything about this thing. They'll front. You know, oh yeah, you know, I know about Van. I'm like, well, shut up. No, you don't. It's like, I don't see no cosplay, no doggone D. I don't see no cosplay of D. D's one of the most prolific heroes Japan has ever written.
Yeah, you don't get his flowers.
You don't,
because like no shade on Castlevania, because there's overlap between anime.
I got lots of shade on Castlevania, but
Alucard would not have the because I think D's a little older than Alucard.
He is.
So Alucard would not have Alucard would not be the kind of sexy that he is if D was not the previous model for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best example of a son of Dracula.
Yep.
Who's just, you can't touch this.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that you probably don't have an Alucard if you don't have D.
You don't. I mean, as I remember, so it's crazy about this story, which I'm like still kind of flabbergasted about. This story doesn't have a lot written for it, but it just keeps resurfacing. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it was 85 was the first movie, if I'm not mistaken. It was. I don't think it was the 70s. I think it was the 80s. It was right after we were born, because I remember watching that joint in a what's the name of the freaking stores we used to have in Carolina, in South Carolina. So it was oh man, I cannot remember that. It was before GameStops. It was during the age of electronic boutique.
Electronic boutique.
It was an electronic boutique because they wouldn't have played it. It was another spot that they would have that was a counterpart. That actually carry anime toys and anime movies and stuff like that. I remember
was it Funko Land?
Funko Land. You hit it. Yeah,
Vampire Hunter D was 1983.
It's okay. I know it was in the 70s. But it was far enough back to be considered like a relic. And then like in the 2000s, we got Bloodlust. So that's almost like
I waited years for that. I think I got introduced to Vampire Hunter D when I was when I turned 16. So that was the year 2000. I turned 16 in 2000. Yeah. And so I was like, oh man, are they gonna ever make another one? And then I feel like did it come out in 2000? So it was actually I saw Vampire Hunter D before 2000.
No, I think it was
because Bloodlust came out in 2000.
Yeah, I'm saying like Bloodlust came out in 2000.
In 2000, so if I had to think, so my sister, in retrospect, so my sister was probably about 1 or 2 at the time. So I probably saw, it was probably 96 or 97 was the first time I saw Vampire Hunter D.
First time I saw Vampire Hunter D was 98 in the Funko Land. Like that was the first time because it was on. I was like, I'm just gonna stay here. You weren't gonna get that nowhere else, man. There was nobody else playing like an actual anime movie anywhere in South Carolina. Like it was like you would like you already know you had to find this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like hard to find. So, dude, I mean, I was saying like I agree with you. D was just one of them dudes, man. Like he was quiet. You know, like he wasn't trying to take nobody's thunder. You know, he just wanted to go around and he helped the innocent. He helped everything and he leave.
Did he have less than 3 minutes of speaking lines in the first movie? He didn't talk. He did not talk much at all.
The
hand did a lot of talking. Not him.
The hand talked for most of the movie, and I think that was the whole point was that the hand was a part that kind of like spoke for him to give us context because he already knows. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, but I thought that was dope. You know, like that. You know, I'll add one on top of that. So you got D. I'm gonna throw in Samurai Troopers. Samurai Troopers, man. I learned too much from Samurai Troopers. You know, like that was that was actually kind of Power Ranger-esque, you know, and I think that's why that was before Power Rangers even dropped on TV because I was watching that in the early 90s before Power Rangers even dropped on. Yeah, it would come on at Fox at 6 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays, and Dragon Ball came on at 6 a.m. on Sunday mornings. You know what I'm saying? So I would watch that joint religiously. You know, every Saturday I was up at 5:45. I'm like, yo, let's get this on. And just watching that crew just being a mess when you meet them in the first part of the show. And they didn't have anything together. They had all this power and these armors and stuff like that. They didn't know what they were doing. And the whole city just turned into hell, like literal hell. And they had to figure it out. You know, I thought that was real dope. You know, like seeing that, like, you know, you had the hero, the leader on Rio, and Rio didn't want to be the hero. He was adamantly against being the one. But every single circumstance that popped up in front of him made him be the one. Even so much so that he could absorb the power of every single armor and make the aerial armor.
Yes.
And once again, that was strenuous. That was hard work. You know, like for the person to be able to even contain all that power, but he was the one, and he wasn't selfish with that. And I like that about his character. Like he was a very selfless guy as a leader, but he really didn't want to be that guy. He didn't want to be the guy. Once again, another perspective from they did a very, very, I think it's because most of the hero's journey stories came from Shane Banana Cultures. The refusal of the call is something that they just mastered in Japanese anime. You know, when you get this one person that's called and they're like, nah, it ain't me. Like, nah, bro, you got the wrong one. You know what I'm saying? And they do everything within their power to make sure that they are not the one. Yeah. And that's what Samurai Troopers really brought to the table, was that like Rio was not, he was I am not the one. And every single circumstance that kept popping up throughout the entire show, like, brother, you need to step up now because people are dying. Yeah. Like, I was like just blown away by that. I was like, wow, you if you don't step up now, homie, there's gonna be problems. And even to the point where we found out that there were actually 10 of them, and the other armors were not dark armor.
Yeah.
I was like, what the world's going on right now? So the perceived, and it was crazy because, you had this real colorful bunch, this real colorful bunch of armor. And that was the perceived ones we normally were used to. That those are the homies that were always Rio. But then you also had these other armors that look more samurai-esque because they actually had the darker parts. They had the full-on helmets. Everything on them looked very like Shogun-esque. It looked like it was from those eras where it was the thick armor, very, very heavy set. It doesn't look very appealing. It wasn't as pretty. And they were tasked with the villains. Even their weapons were dishonorable. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have like the honorable samurai weapons. Or like they didn't have pikes. They didn't have bows. They didn't have bow and arrows. They didn't have swords. Them suckers had sickles. They have farmers' tools as weapons, which is actually somewhat dishonorable in their code, because that's not something you would see a samurai like using to fight somebody as a sickle. So they had dishonorable weapons too. So I mean, I thought it was very interesting. Like when I got older and I went back and watched that, how the main villain, how he was able to twist their minds because they looked like they were supposed to be villains. And but at the same time, dealing with them over time, you come to find they've been brainwashed and that they were actually good people. And the process at the end where everybody wakes up, the Anubis armor, the 5 armors, everybody's armor wakes up to the good and they all stand against the villain. I thought it was dope because it kind of showed you that the parts that you think that are bad are not really bad. You perceive them as bad because you don't understand it. And I learned that as a child watching that. That was a dope thing. I was like, that is fire. Because at the very, very end of the tale, the first owner of the Anubis armor gave his life up to even protect his sister, because his sister was brainwashed. And he gave his power up to and this is like a lot of power. I mean, Homo walking around with this staff, and it was a dun 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 dun, you hit the ground, dun 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 dun. You hear that sound in the background,
Yeah.
and you know it's going down. Like if you heard that, you like, suckers, y'all lost. It's like you lost, yo. But like hearing that sound in the background and how he actually stripped himself of his armor and put it on her, which was a death sentence for him. And he did it anyway to bring his sister back. And he made her the new owner of the Anubis armor. I was like, yo, look, the themes of forgiveness, the themes of breaking down the barriers and receiving your people back, because all those armors were created at the same time, and they were given to multiple people, but for some reason, none of them were corrupted. The people that wore them were corrupted. And yeah,
I have to admit as well, because like it does have like the big redemption thing on there, especially for the Shuten. Also in the dub, they called him Anubis. Yeah. So he was the ogre demon in Japan, but he's the warlord of cruelty. And like samurai, Yoroiden Samurai Troopers, aka the Samurai Warriors, like that show hurt my feelings the worst. with the dub.
The dub was trash, yo.
But I cut my teeth on the dub. That's the thing.
I did too, man. I did.
So when I finally bought my own like Samurai Troopers box set,
yeah,
and then I realized that they didn't call Talpa.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is like, what did they do? There was no reason. Some of the names that they changed. And some of the things that they represented and stuff like that, I was like, was this really?
Yeah.
Like Anubis was Kale.
It's Kale. Yeah.
And so the one that they called Kale was actually Demon, the Anubis, the Darkness Demon General. Whereas but Shuten was, I was just like, you didn't have to do this. You did not have to do this.
These are all facts. It's funny. It's messed up because once again, the each one of them had each armor had its own ability or its own virtue to uphold.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like all of them were guided by Gleaned. which in Japanese, I think that's righteousness, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's righteousness. But I always thought it was interesting. Rio was the one that had the wildfire armor. And
yes.
And that was, I thought, at least for me, watching him say flare up in American, flare up now, that thing. And then like in and I think that was actually the original way to say it too. If I'm
it
not
is.
mistaken.
He's the only character, and I mean the only character.
Yeah.
He's the only character in the entire show that they did not alter. They let all of Rio's stuff remain. Everybody else, the names were changed to protect the innocent, but like
dun, dun.
I'm on their Wikipedia page right now looking. I said they changed every single person, everyone, even the main villain. They changed everyone. Like you would have called Talpa Arago. Like, what was that so hard for a child to say as Arago? Like they could like why did you do this?
It is for an American.
You had to take Kayura and make her Kyra. Like, oh, they didn't have to do that.
I mean,
they didn't have to do this.
All that was standing though, the series was lit. I mean,
it was.
It was lit, yo. I mean, even with a trash dub, it was lit. Like that's how good that show survived a trash dub in our generation. That's how good that joint is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let the trash dub be as good as it was in my memory. I'm not gonna go back and watch it.
That's fair.
I don't want to hate it more.
I think that I lost one of my copy of Samurai Trooper. So I'm gonna have to re-up on that. I need that back in my life again. Because I had the entire set, and when we moved, man, I don't know what happened to that sucker, man. But I'm gonna have to get back on that. But yeah, I mean, like so that's dope. So now we go to question 3. What character at one point did you want to be like?
Oh, Vegeta.
Okay, we both can like pretty much spar on that. Yeah, Vegeta. Yeah, like that's probably one of the best redemptive arcs that we've had in anime. Even though the overall Dragon Ball story is Basura. The overarching story is Basura, but Vegeta is probably like the shine. Him and Bulma actually, like, especially if you watch from Dragon Ball, makes a lot of sense.
It does.
The
show is Kasada. It is trash.
Oh, facts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's, Dragon Ball to me, it was far superior than Dragon Ball Z as far as when it comes to writing.
It was because because there was an end. That's the thing. Like there was a defined end, and we knew where we were going. That's why it was good. But then when you realize that you're just feeding fans and you don't actually have an objective anymore, I can't live my life like that.
That's fair. Yeah, and it got worse because even Toriyama has said he tried to kill off Goku a couple of times, and the fan interest was so high that he just had to keep him alive, and that I think that just destroyed the story. Even he hates Vegeta. I mean, he said I don't like Vegeta, and it's like, but homie, you made this excellently compelling character. Why would you just murder him off? That just don't make sense. I mean, this dude is Prince of all Saiyans. You just gonna throw that away? It just didn't make.
I get tired of hearing that though. I get tired of hearing that tagline.
I get tired of hearing that too. It's like, homie, that don't even matter anymore. But at the same time, though, the character idea, the fact that he's like a fallen royal, like that's a very interesting dynamic. Like for a space opera in a particular sense. I haven't seen a lot of space operas deal with a fallen royal. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen them deal with a person that rises up to be the great one. Like plenty of them. Star Wars kind of started that, epic, in a lot of the storytelling, and that's in Japan and here, where we've always had like the chosen one type of scenario. But as far as like a fallen royal, coming back to his kingdom in that particular sense, I don't see a lot of that. Like when it comes to anime even. I mean, like Lelouch in Code Geass is the closest one. But that had a weird twist of fate.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but yeah, like I mean, I thought that Vegeta had some of the most potential to actually write on, and Goku to me is just like he's he's on retcon man, and like in Dragon Ball. It's like, oh, we can't beat this guy. Give Goku a power up. That's what it became. Oh, he can't do that. Was Ultra Instinct. Like, what about Super Saiyan 4?
Like, how do we make a deadbeat dad worse? Give him two kids. and let him be proud of neither of his actual kids, but be proud of his granddaughter.
Yeah,
and then let's retcon.
You talking about GT? Oh my goodness, bro.
Let him be proud of his granddaughter.
Yeah, let him be proud of his granddaughter and skip his own children.
And then retcon.
Yeah, he's a worse daddy than Aang.
He is like look what they did with Avatar. What they did on Avatar to Aang was unconscionable.
It was. I mean, like they made Aang a deadbeat daddy. You know, he had 3 kids and he neglected 2 and only gave attention to 1. And it was because he was an airbender. But he's a daddy though.
Look, man, I'm gonna have to get Republican and be like, that's not my Avatar. Like, that's not my Avatar. Like that's one of the many reasons why we don't like Korra. But yeah, because we know that Avatar Aang and the Last Airbender would never have. That was so uncharacteristic of him. It was absolutely uncharacteristic of him to like, I'll just abandon my children because they don't do the bending that I like. Really? What? Like, wow, bro. Like that is actually quite Fire Lord of you. You know. Look, that man had to have a new type of bending invented for him so that he could keep the same energy that he was already rocking with his moral character. Don't get me wrong, he was a goofball. Yes. And the last person I want saving the planet, but he was consistent and he kept the same energy. Yes. The whole time. He learned how to use fire finally. It was kind of like, I don't know if I want to use this. He kept the same energy. So so to suddenly turn him into a deadbeat daddy after him risking his life it don't make sense. There's no dollars and it doesn't make sense. I mean, he's in the Super Bowl for deadbeat daddies when it comes to animations, though. I mean, like props. I mean, like we're just gonna give a good clap to the writers of Korra. Just like they're like, you know what, man, forget this dude, man. You know what I'm saying? This dude is trash. You know, like he was trash in the last one, so we're gonna make him more trash. Like, oh, he dead now. How he died? Oh, he died, because he was in the ice for too long. Seriously? Yeah, so I would be Vegeta, not Goku. Like Vegeta loves his children. He loves his children. He takes care of his children. He trains them. He instructs them. Yeah. He gives them responsibility. Yeah. But I would want to be Vegeta. Why would I want to be Goku? Yeah, facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I know a lot of people that want to be Goku. I know exactly who popped in your mind. He is free of moral consequences. Don't have to worry about nobody doing nothing. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? I actually know some of the people that popped in your mind. There's plenty of people I can think of on top of them. They're like, oh man, this dude Goku, man, that is my role model. Like, dude, really? No. Dude is trash, yo. Oh, so you want to be a terrible father? You want to duck out on taxes? I mean, it's crazy because like what you were saying about Jordan earlier. Jordan fits the Goku mold. He does. He won because he won. He won a lot, and that made him great. But as far as like what he leaves behind, it's like can you imagine the funeral for Goku? He saved the universe, but he was never there for me. No. And so this is something Trevor's referring to something we talked about pre-show, where like I grew up with a preconceived notion because Michael Jordan was a winner and was arguably, debatably the best basketball player in the NBA during his tenure. And been better than a lot of players who even went after him. That he was a good, upstanding moral character simply because he was a winner. To as I get older, to look at his scandals and to look at what a sourpuss he is when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame and just what a sore loser he was overall. Yeah. Jordan really is not, like I'm not a good human being. So like, I know I'm a monster. I'm not going to, I know the kind of parent I am. I know the kind of marriage I've had. I know I'm a monster, but I didn't, I used to just assume Jordan was a good man because he was a winner. And I think people who just assume that Goku's a good person because he gave Frieza a righteousness speech,
Look, let's not even talk about his to me that there's something severely wrong with his relationship with Frieza, because on God, I tell you this, I'm gonna use what the young kids say. On God, if I had saw Frieza again, that sucker would have lost his face. This dude literally clapped your homie. Like, let's put it, he clapped your homie in front of you, laughed about it, watched his ashes fall into the ocean of Namek. You know what I'm saying? You go Super Saiyan and then you give him energy? This is the problem that I got. You know, it's like Naruto falls to that same vein. It's like you watch this dude murk Jiraiya, left posing this dude back. I mean, like, literally just left him there, like no respect. He didn't even have it.
And that was his master. Let's just be clear about that. Was his master.
Yeah,
Who he loved, and he desecrated that man's body.
He murked that dude and disrespected him. In a shame and honor and society, that there's smoke. There's lots of smoke.
It's unconscionable, and there's no path back after dishonoring him in that way. We have no recourse, but you have to be dealt with for doing some foul stuff.
So Frieza and Pain to me were in the same category. I was like, you don't save this type of villain. You want to beat this villain. You don't want to give them another chance. You don't hang Frieza in hell and have a bunch of cute animals tickling him because that's his fate. Who does that? Who thinks that that's a wonderful idea to make this dude suffer after all the millions and billions of people he's murdered? Literally billions. He blew up planets.
He needs to cease to exist.
Yes.
Period.
Poof. Like, God. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like Pain to me just had like, I mean, people that we had sympathy on him because he looked so wretched. Well, that was the designer's fault. I wouldn't have done that. I would have had his behind been one of them doggone bodies. I make that sucker as strong as he needs to be, so I won't get no sympathy for this sucker. Let me burn this sucker. You know what I'm saying? Like just. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just my take. But yeah, I'm just like that joint just bothered me. I was like, homie, I don't know, bro. This don't fit well. You know, in this story, like Goku just always letting the villains get away. Cell, oh man, fight my son. Here's a sensu bean, Cell. Homie, really? Like your son is not an experienced fighter. He hates fighting.
He killed King Kai. Oh, look, let's move on. Like, I'm triggered. I hate Goku, man.
All right, so we're gonna end this episode here, and we're gonna give you guys the next episode soon. Thank you guys for listening to ENigmas Unchained. If you like what you heard, please follow us on Apple and Google Podcasts by looking up ENigmas Unchained. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ENigmas Unchained, as well as on Facebook by searching our name. Thank you guys for having us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Solve those enigmas. Don't leave them unsolved.